The Bureau of Immigration says it's ready for the expected influx of passengers as the country opens its borders and further relaxes quarantine protocols to fully vaccinated inbound Filipino travelers and foreign nationals. Let's now speak to the Bureau of Quarantine. Joining us is BOQ Senior Medical Officer Dr. Neptali Labasan. Good morning, Dr. Labasan. Thank you for joining us. Now, beginning tomorrow, fully vaccinated Filipino travelers and beginning February 10, fully vaccinated foreign nationals from non-visa required countries will not be required to undergo facility-based quarantine, provided that they have, of course, a negative RT-PCR test taken within 48 hours from their departure. So instead, what they'll have to do is just monitor for any symptoms for 7 days. Now, this is quite a departure from previous restrictions. Is it something that we should be worried about, given that we know that COVID-19 virus has a certain incubation period?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, and thank you for inviting me to your show this morning, ma'am. With regards to the IATF Resolution 159, as you mentioned earlier, it was recommended by the sub-working group on COVID-19 to the IATF that the policy would change that way. Maybe because the expert there have seen the trend also. It's downward motion already, and we have to open the economy, tourism. That we still have the safety net of allowing only the fully vaccinated travelers plus the 48 hours RT-PCR negative result tests for them. But now, really, the burden would be with the LGUs. The burden would be on them because of the mandate that this traveler would go straight to their home LGUs. But there are also cautions, as you mentioned earlier, that they need to report to their LGUs, and they are required to report to them if they develop symptoms.
All right. Now, prior to this policy, could you tell us how many travelers on average were being brought to different quarantine facilities, and how many of them are actually testing positive for COVID-19?
Yes, ma'am. The last 5 days, our arrival is around less than 4,000, and around 300 of them turns out to be positive after 5 days. Test or swab on the 5th day, on the 5th day. 300 of them turns out to be positive.
So to clarify, Dr. Labasan, unvaccinated and partially vaccinated travelers, they will still be required to undergo facility-based quarantine. Can you tell us a bit about the status of our hotel and quarantine sites in terms of their availability and occupancy?
Yes, ma'am. They are still required to have a 5-day quarantine and then swab on the 5th day. The hotels now would be in a better shape than before, because we have problems before the influx of travelers before. But now I think they can manage the hotel. We have a lot of slot for the hotels.
Okay, sir, earlier this year, the Department of Health approved the hiring of more BOQ personnel. How many personnel do you currently have now, and is it, filling in the need?
Yes, ma'am. At the start of the month, the DOH approved our emergency hiring of personnel. Currently, we are still hiring. There are a lot of, thank you very much, there are a lot of aspirant to be in the quarantine, and good thing the personal support would help us a lot, and the requirements will be filled already. Thank you.
All right, so almost there. Thank you for your time this morning. That was Bureau of Quarantine Senior Medical Officer Dr. Neptali Labasan.